Hello and welcome to another video everyone will hate us for.
We're not going to complain about movie theaters too much.
I have no complaints.
This is not a video about movie theaters in particular, but we should point out that we do now live in a post-chicken jockey world. Chicken jockey! So anything we say about the current state of like movies and box office, it all needs to be taken with a grain of salt because it's all out the window now. We live in a nightmare world where chicken jockey is a thing, and the director of a major motion picture is encouraging audiences to make the lives of theater employees miserable.
And then this week in Melbourne at a Ringwood Hoyts, things have really taken another turn when some kids have let off a fire extinguisher. That would have been very scary for the other people in the cinema.
Can I say my hot take on chicken jockey? I'm fine with it. Do you remember when the Harry Potter books came out and people were like, children shouldn't read those, they're satanic. And the counter argument was, kids are reading books. Mm-hmm. This is good. I mean, if you're an advocate for movie theaters, if you're a Sean Baker, kids are going back to the movies, baby. Yeah. Sure, they're bringing in live chickens and throwing trash all over the place.
Getting arrested.
And causing the movies to be shut down. But hey, they're going back to the theaters, and that's what's really important.
Is the Minecraft movie the first meme movie? Other movies have been memed. You have like the Morbius, it's Morbin Time, that was like a meme, but nobody saw the movie. This is a movie that people are like flocking to. It's done much better than expected at the box office. And it's because the movie itself is like a meme. You go to the theater specifically to post clips of you watching this stupid movie.
I'm guessing people just leave after the chicken jockey moment.
I don't know. We left well before that. We were ahead of the curve.
Well, we saw like the first screening on opening day, so it was well before chicken jockey was a thing. And I think the first meme movie, maybe Megan, her dancing, I don't know, but you mean to be involved in your own meme?
Yeah, where it's like, well, this is interesting because this is kind of going along with what we're talking about, like what movies are doing well, is that it happened organically, everything with the Minecraft movie. It was not, you know what you're gonna see now, you're gonna see studios trying to recreate the chicken jockey meme. They're going to try to artificially create something like this, and it'll fail completely. Nobody was expecting chicken jockey.
Full ices just thrown at people, at the wall, at the screen.
It was a horrible scene.
The theater ended up calling the police, but most of the culprits fled out the fire exit.
So let's talk about movies.
Movies, they're happening, they're in the theaters, but no one's going. So what is this conversation about? Is it about the fact that IPs are now successful and little movies are just flopping?
That seems to be the trend. We did a video around this time last year called The Death of Movie Theaters. Because at that point, there was articles being written about how like every movie was underperforming. Big movies, mid-budget movies, whatever. It was a bad time for the box office. And this year, the trend is that all the like mid-budget movies, because we always talk about how movies are not, there's not a lot of original movies. It's all recognizable IP. We did our What Our Next video.
Mufasa, the Lion King, AKA more Lion Kings.
Is that a sequel to a remake as well?
I think it's a prequel to a remake as well.
A prequel to a remake of a sequel to an original property?
Cash money, baby.
But there has been a lot of original movies coming out this year, but the trend is that nobody's really seeing them. They're all underperforming or flat out flopping.
And well, the interesting note is, and this is where things get confusing, is when I looked at the biggest box office returns for 2025 so far, the top 3 were all recognizable IPs. The top 3 had terrible reviews.
Well, the Snow White movie isn't in the top 3 box office. Really?
Yeah.
And it's still horribly underperformed. That's interesting.
The budget estimated between 240 million and 270 million. But it brought in 82 domestic, 100 worldwide for 182. Certainly lost money, but at $182 million gross as of whatever this date, I think I did this yesterday, that makes it number 3. Everything else is...
That's actually...
much lower.
Yeah, the fact that Snow White is number 3 and it underperformed is not a good sign for everything underneath it.
Because people, there's the bulk of theater goers are people that are just going en masse to watch the thing they know.
Yes.
And the people that are like, we have a whole bunch of oddball original movies.
Many of them good. Quality is not even a factor in any of
this. Quality doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Reviews don't matter anymore. It's just what gets them into the theater. And those budgets to returns are just even the big Blumhouse things.
That's the surprising thing is the Blumhouse model. They've only had one movie this year, right? No, they've had a couple. What was their January movie this year? But yeah, the Blumhouse model is always keep the budgets very low, and it's a horror movie. They always make money. And that's kind of fallen apart a little bit, because what did Woman in the Yard do?
Woman in the Yard had bad ratings, 42-47, budget of $12 million, and it brought in $20 million domestically, and only $640,000 internationally. It basically played nowhere on the international level. I don't know why. Certainly it wasn't going to play in China.
Right. It's about ghosts.
No, it's nothing but black people in it.
Oh, I don't know anything about the movie.
Oh, okay.
I've seen the poster.
I didn't mean to call all of China racist against black people, but we all know you are.
We know their history with re-editing movies for their market, or eliminating people from posters of movies in the case of Star Wars.
Yeah. The shrunk down John Boyega to the size of Mike TV.
In the actual movie, they did that too.
Yeah.
Look, Mom, I'm up here in a million pieces.
$12 million budget for Woman in the Yard, $20 million gross. And the interesting thing about Woman in the Yard is I heard of it. I was actually in California recently, and all I saw was Woman in the Yard billboards everywhere. And I know that's probably not a giant chunk of advertising budget, but I seen TV commercials.
Oh yeah, Blumhouse in general does pretty good at marketing.
I was very aware that this movie was coming out.
But that's another trend, talking about these movies and why a lot of them probably are underperforming, is there isn't a lot of marketing behind them. With some exceptions. There's a lot of movies that will be on our list here that you barely heard about. Novocaine had a pretty good marketing campaign behind it. Hi. And that movie did okay. It wasn't like a flop.
I saw an article that considered it a flop. So,
and you always have to, when we're talking about these, you have to factor in marketing budget and the box office, the theater take.
So $18 million budget, and then, there was a lot of advertising.
We even got some stray free advertising out of that movie.
And so that's what this is. It's like, if you really zoom in on my face, you can just see how absolutely, I'm trying to go along with the bit, but I am the most embarrassed I've ever been in my entire life.
Because you saw that poster, that kind of Operation-inspired poster was everywhere. They did a great job marketing that movie.
Well, that's the thing is, I wanted to talk about that earlier when we talked about movie theaters before. We're not going to complain about movie theaters, relax. I don't mind movie theaters. We're going to go to more until I have an incident. When we went and saw Minecraft movie, we walked by the small theater and they were playing that Bill Murray dog movie.
Oh yeah, Bill Murray and Naomi Watts.
Bill Murray dies and Naomi Watts has to take care of his giant dog. And I think that's the premise. And I was like, that's in a theater? Like what? And then
again, no marketing behind it.
No marketing. Other movies are in theaters, but With Novocaine, I was like, oh, I'll just wait till it comes out on streaming. And it comes out on streaming, and I paid $25 to buy it. And I was like, why doesn't everybody do this? And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's a lot of money. A movie, just a singular movie. Sure. I'm happy to pay it because I'm a movie buff who likes to watch movies at home, especially new releases that I want to see. Happy to pay that, but I totally understand movie after movie after movie after movie. If you're paying that price at home, people just skipping it.
Yeah, or you wait to rent it, and that's another thing too. Is talking about the narrowing window between theater and streaming, which happened with the other Jack Quaid movie, Companion, back in, was that January that came out? Where it came out, didn't do great, and so the studio panicked and they're like, put it on streaming immediately. So like within 2 weeks of being released in theaters, it was already on streaming. And so that kind of de-incentivizes people to go to the theater. If it's not a big Minecraft movie, if it's not a big event movie, I think a lot of people will just say, I'll just wait.
Yeah, well, I think we need to break down the audience into subcategories because there's the theater tier, and in some cases, going to the theater is cheaper than streaming.
Oh, sure.
It's not like a trickle down effect like it used to be with premiere release, then the second run theaters, then home video. It's like going to an afternoon show of, I don't know, seeing a Companion. I don't know, was it $12, $13 a ticket? I don't even know
I mean,
anymore.
it depends on where you're at in the country, but yeah.
So you go to the theater.
Between 10 and 20 bucks.
Yeah, I mean, if you choose to buy concessions, that's your own choice. We're just talking about ticket price. Okay, you go to the theater, and then if you wanted to wait until streaming, when it first comes out on streaming and they don't have the rent option, which is rare, usually it's rent or buy, they're about the same, $5 difference, $19.99 or $24.99. And, and so it's like, okay, I'm in the second tier. Well, I'll just I want to see that movie. I'm just going to buy it or rent it. There's a lot of people like, oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Let me wait another 4 months until it ends up on Peacock or Netflix or HBO Max or whatever, to where it's completely free and part of the subscription that they're already paying for. And that's the worst tier for the studios.
Yes.
The bottom feeder cheapskate tier, where they're just waiting and waiting for it to be free. You want people to pay for this product right away.
Yeah. But that's the problem with these kind of mid-budget movies, is they're not given the opportunity to feel like something that's worth going to the theater to. Because, it'll be on streaming in 2 weeks. It'll be on Netflix or Amazon, free with my subscription in a month. So so that's why you not every movie is going to be like an Oppenheimer or a Barbie, where it's like a cultural event where everybody goes to see it. The only one we've had since then is the Minecraft movie, and it's ironically.
Let me throw another movie at you, the one we both saw. It was called Borderline.
I miss you a lot.
Yes, this one's almost an anomaly because I don't know where it played in theaters.
I don't think it did. Well, that's the thing, is it has Ray Nicholson and Samara Weaving. It's a strange movie. It's a fun movie. It's unique. The performances are interesting.
Ray Nicholson, it's worth seeing for his performance.
I thought it was worth seeing for Samara Weaving's performance.
Her flailing accent.
I don't care about the accent, but she's just filled with people and disinterest the entire movie, and she plays it so straight and dry, and it was cracking me up. It's a funny movie. People that are advocates for mental health awareness are not going to like it.
It's a little clunky in that aspect.
It portrays a crazy man as goofy. It feels a little dated in that.
That's what I was thinking when watching it, where it's like, I like dark comedy, but if you're going to tackle like stalking and mental health issues, like you got to be clever with how you deal with it. And this movie's just like, get a load of this, Looney Tunes. Like, it does feel dated in that respect.
It's just a sequel to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right, Jay? Anyways,
It's the legacy sequel.
it's a legacy sequel. So that claims to have a $5.8 million budget, and the box office was $13,000.
That means they put it in like one theater in LA and then dropped it on
Yeah,
streaming.
I mean,
but that feels like a movie that would be like a companion, where it's like a good, seems like it would be a good word of mouth movie where you promote the hell out of it, because Companion had a lot of promotion.
Oh yeah,
It didn't do great, and then they dumped it onto streaming.
it had a great teaser trailer.
Yeah, it was like compelling, and I think that
Yeah.
would have been a good crowd-pleasing movie in a theater, because there's lots of big moments in it. Borderline feels like it could have been one of those type of movies, but I don't know what happened to it.
If it's I don't know, Vertical or Neon or whatever company, it's like they got a slate of 36 movies coming out this year, and they have to, I assume, pick and choose which ones they want to push money into based on maybe test screenings and all that kind of stuff, because Borderline did not get great reviews, 56 and 67, but $13,000, right? So in order to, if you want your film to still be considered for Academy Awards or things, and not that this film is, but you put it in theaters.
Yeah.
And sometimes they test the waters, like, oh, is this theater, let's throw it in one theater in LA and New York and see if it sells out, and if it, word of mouth.
And it builds.
And then it builds.
That doesn't happen anymore.
So maybe they put it in 2 theaters, it made $13,000, and they said, "Ooh, dump it on streaming." But my question is, what is they streaming numbers?
They don't have to give those out. Nobody knows.
That's $13,000 plus $20. My $20 that I paid for that makes up a significant portion in the grand scheme of things of the box office returns of this. How many, where's those numbers? Why can't we see those numbers?
Especially these days where there's a blurring of the line between theatrical and streaming. It seems like that could potentially be a significant amount of whatever revenue the movie makes, but it just feels very like dated, the idea that we only look at box office numbers
Yes,
for
definitely.
movies that are either day and date the same or come out to Companion.
Yeah.
I'm sure Companion will have a nice long life, because it's a good movie, it's an entertaining movie, and I think it'll stick around and people will be talking about it for a while, but it didn't do great in theaters, so they dumped it. And so the only thing we have to go off of is its box office theatrical numbers. But when you put it onto streaming immediately after theatrical, you're still going to be bringing in a fresh new stream of revenue that seems like it would be relatively significant for a known movie like that, a movie that was advertised. But
I don't know. They say that 96% of Americans only have $500 in their bank account for emergencies. That's the, like, I'm a statistics guy. I love numbers and I love like facts. And people they say old man yelling at cloud. they put that JPEG imagery up on the internet, and it's a scene from a show called The Simpsons.
I've heard of this show, yeah.
I believe it was a news article on the Springfield Times.
Yeah.
But it's now what they call a meme.
Yes.
And whenever I go on my rants, they like to say old man yells at cloud. But I love statistics, and I wonder, let's just take the population of the U.S., 360 million people, right? Out of those 360 million people, how many people want to see Companion on streaming the day it comes out? Probably, I don't know. How many people know about Companion? Here it goes. How many people know about Companion and say, I'm going to wait until it's free? How many people can afford Companion but choose to spend that $25.99 on something else? Like, what are those numbers?
And I think that's a factor into the box office theaters too, as far as like the only thing making money are the big recognizable IPs, because it's a safe bet. And the economy right now, I think a lot of people are scared and they don't want to spend $50 to take the family to go see a movie in the theater when they could use it to buy eggs instead. I think that's certainly a factor in it.
Here's an interesting thing too. I was looking at the box office returns for Snow White, and it's like, opening weekend, Friday, Saturday is great. Sunday dips a little, and then the following weekend you have like a 97% drop. No, not that bad. 58% drop. But then magically, Tuesdays, 57% increase. Why, Jay?
Because that's when they do their discount days.
I mean, there's smarter people in Hollywood, budget number people, finance people. I mean, do you do like a shotgun approach? And when something like, we're using Companion as an example because it's just here, because it was a good movie, it was well advertised. It's like,
Should have done better.
Should have done better, should have done 50 million at the box office, 60 million, should have been one of those like viral movies and everyone goes, hey, you got to see this movie. What if when they release it on streaming, it's $5.99? You know, it's the old...
Costs less, but maybe more people will buy it.
It's the old, like, finance marketing problem of, do you sell more things at a cheaper price or less things at a higher price?
Yeah.
Sometimes they even out, sometimes they don't.
But that falls into the problem that I think the industry is sort of worried about right now in general, is the devaluing of movies by having everything free on streaming, or on streaming like within 2 weeks of theatrical, where it's like, well, okay, we're going to put it on streaming, but we still got to make our money back, so we're going to charge $25 to buy it on Amazon.
That has fomented the wait culture.
Yeah.
I'm coined a new term, the wait culture. The culture of people who say, I'll wait. Mm-hmm. I know people like this.
Sure.
I know people who just don't have any streaming services, and they use like those fucking things, those torrents, and I'll never name these people. They'll get deported to Nicaragua and sent to a prison.
No, there's a special little island for people that torrent things.
Okay. Or they'll just have one streaming service. They'll see a movie that comes out, and they'll sign up for the trial period of the streaming service, then cancel. Mm-hmm. And then there's the worst group of people on planet Earth. They're beyond wait culture. If this were an Indian caste system, they'd be the untouchables. They are the library people.
Oh my God.
Do you know these exist?
I didn't know these existed. No.
I
know libraries exist.
Your local library also carries movies. And some people will go to the library with their library card and wait.
One of the best hidden treasures in Northwest Ohio is the movie selection in the Toledo-Lucas County Library Universe. A huge library of movies, either streaming or available on DVD for free.
So someone in maybe next year, 2 years from now, will go to their library with their library card and find Companion on DVD or Blu-ray.
What if they never release a physical version of it, though? Martin Scorsese's brilliant film Killers of the Flower Moon does not have a physical release. You can't get that at the library.
It happens.
Barbarian, you still can't get that at the library. There's no physical release for it.
It'll whatever comes out on a physical release. I mean, it might be a bigger movie then, not a Companion, like Barbie or whatever.
Sure.
Someone's going to the library as we speak to use their library card to check out Barbie for free.
All right.
And they've waited all this time.
I suppose. I mean, at least people are going to the library, I guess. They haven't bulldozed the building, so that's good, right?
Should turn it into a movie theater. So what can be done about movies?
Well, one thing that people try to do is champion theater going, where they say, this original movie is coming out this weekend. If you want studios to make more original movies, you better go to the theater.
This film was shot in a way that will bring the viewers an experience.
We should talk about that real quick.
Yeah, we're recording this before Sinners has come out. Right.
Sinners is the new Ryan Coogler film, director of the Creed movies and Black Panther.
Only the first Creed.
One Creed movie and Black Panther and Black Panther 2. Mm-hmm. Both Black Panthers and one Creed movie.
Yes.
So he's done Marvels and IPs.
And one independent movie before the first Creed movie. That's what got him the job doing Creed.
Sure, okay.
A lover of film,
yes.
That man. He seems to really just love movies.
Right, and so I saw the trailer for Sinners, It has an exceptional Rotten Tomatoes critic score.
And not an existing IP.
Not an existing IP. High on the budget end, I think $90 million budget. And then so we've been seeing, because, you know, Hollywood has been looking at these numbers too. And we've been noticing some advertisements, you know. The cast is being interviewed. They're like, this movie is amazing. Got to see it on the big screen.
Oh, sure.
It's in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim.
In seeing that tall of an image, it just adds this very emotional quality.
It's a communal experience you simply don't get at home.
Turning the lights out with hundreds or 1,000, you know, strangers and taking in something together is really wonderful.
Take your friends to the theater.
You got to see it in the theater.
The theater, you got to go back to the theater. The theater, because that's obviously where the bulk of the money comes from. It's not streaming.
Yeah.
Or else they wouldn't have such a push and such an emphasis on, you know, the opening weekend. It's projected to make between $50-60 million.
By the time this video comes out, we'll see if that's true. Here it is.
We will have known what the opening weekend was like, and I hope it makes a ton of money.
It's a horror thing, but even that's not a sure bet anymore.
Right, because I wanted to mention Woman in the Yard. It was very polarizing critically and audience-wise as well. I really liked it. It's just like this family, it's this mother, her son, and her daughter, and they're living in this farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. And they just one day, you know, the premise is there's a woman in the yard, and she gets closer and closer and closer, and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of really interesting details. It comes off like it's one of those premises that it's like an elevated, a very elevated first-year screenwriter screenplay.
Okay.
You
got your premise, and the premise is clearly a metaphor.
I don't want to say, you know, it was all a dream.
Right.
You know, so I don't know if you want to say unreliable narrator. The lead is the mother. Her mental state is not to be trusted. I don't want to give away too much, but there's some very hard moments that are difficult. There's things that indicate she could be dreaming, that this all could be a flashback. Her perspective isn't correct.
So you're saying it's not about a killer swimming pool?
That's the thing. Is the marketing led you to believe that it was going to be this haunted ghost old lady, and you know that was her farmhouse, and she doesn't want them living there.
Okay. Typical Blumhouse formula.
Yeah, but it was more artistically done than that. More kind of ambiguous and very dark. It's just, there's a lot of use of mirrors. That plays heavily into it because you're not sure which side of the psyche we're currently with at the moment. You'd really like it. Okay. I think it reminds me. If this were a movie that came out in 1962 and was in black and white and in French, everyone would say it's like a masterpiece. But because it came out today, and because it's Blumhouse, and it came out today, and audiences want that lady flying around the house going, "I'm gonna get you."
Well, and it sounds pretty minimal too.
Oh yeah.
As far as like the concept, so it's not a lot of, like, for word of mouth people that want to see a Blumhouse type movie. There's not a lot to latch onto. It sounds like
there's not a lot to latch onto, and it's not a good recommendation.
Okay.
And I don't know how the budget was $12 million or whatever, but because it's 4 actors in a farmhouse, the entire movie. It could have been done for $1 million, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Jason Blum wanted his cut.
Well, that's a trend then of horror underperforming, which horror is always, aside from the big recognizable IP, low budget horror is always a safe bet. But that's not the case because Women in the Yard didn't do great. I saw Opus with Ayo Edeburi, is that her name? And John Malkovich. A24, classy A24 movie. Budget of $10 million. $2 million global box office. That was a big old flop.
It had stinky reviews.
Well, you see the trailer for it, and it's like, oh, she's going to this island, this weird musician guy. You see that trailer, and you're like, oh, so it's going to be an evil cult? And then you watch the movie, and it's like, oh, it's an evil cult. Like, weirdly flatline for an A24 movie. They usually have that, like, hook or something interesting, or it goes in a weird direction that you're not expecting.
Twist
and Opus was, like, exactly, there's kind of, like, a vague attempt at a statement about, like, influencer culture a little bit, but it's an evil cult on an island. It's like we've seen that so many times now. So, yeah, a weird miss from A24. They're usually better about the stuff, but between that and Death of a Unicorn, which also didn't do well.
All right, so, yeah, I guess...
What other horror? Do you have any other horror?
I talked about Hard Eyes before. 81.77 Rotten Tomatoes, and $18 million budget. Respectable, small budget, but $32 million. The Monkey did well.
We gotta make like eggs and scramble!
A $10 million budget and brought in 68 worldwide.
I would say it deserved more. That's speaking of like crowd pleasers. That's one that you want to see that in a theater full of people on a weekend just to hear all the reactions.
Oh, yeah.
That's a crazy movie.
Wait.
It had a sort of a middling audience reaction. I think people didn't expect so much comedy in it. It was like a silly movie.
It's basically a farce, yeah.
Yeah, but...
but catchy premise, catchy poster.
Yeah, no, it's well
Stephen King.
done. Yeah, right.
I mean, did okay, which is good. I'm surprised it didn't do better, actually.
Holy shit!
Oh, Mickey 17. Let's talk about Mickey 17 real quick. I saw it, you did not.
Right.
Great ratings, 77, 73. I loved it. It was right up my alley. It felt like an episode of Star Trek.
I like the premise. I want to see it. I just haven't watched it yet.
It was 120 million. I guess it was considered a flop.
Yeah. What did it? Yeah, $120 million budget. What did it do?
485 domestic, 84.
Okay.
International for 130 million total.
Yeah. That's not. You don't want to just barely break even on a big $100+ million budget movie.
Yeah, and this is from the director of Parasite, Bong Joon-ho.
Yes.
And
this is his blank check movie as a result of Parasite. And I always root for the blank check movies.
Yeah.
Even if they're not good, they're usually like ambitious and weird. So, but I do think like for a movie like this, that budget probably a little too high for like as far as if you're trying to reach a mainstream audience with an odd premise.
This is a John Carter of Mars kind of situation where you have because it's based on a novel, which I didn't know watching it until the end credits, and I said that makes total sense.
Okay.
Because it feels like this big story. It doesn't have this like a typical structure of like a movie that's just written for the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It goes off in these different directions, and there's other characters and these things going on, and kind of it feels very much like a big novel where there's like all these different little storylines going on, and they kind of chose what to include and all that. Mark Ruffalo playing a not so subtle version of Donald Trump, a failed politician who couldn't get reelected, so he joins the space mission to kind of start a new colony. It's kind of the a blemish on the film. His performance is a little too obvious, and it's
Mark Ruffalo's, you mean?
Yeah, it's going to be dated. I don't know if his character in the book was supposed to be that particular parody of that particular politician. Or if it was more of a general boobish dumb politician guy. But it's a fun movie. It's interesting. There's these weird slug creatures on the planet that the Donald Trump character thinks are like vermin, but they're really intelligent. He's like, wipe them out with gas, and there's this whole like sci-fi kind of plot going on. But I could see why people didn't quite love it, where it wasn't this huge success, because there was no action scenes.
Yeah.
It was
maybe a little too ambitious and weird.
It was ambitious. It was weird. It was very satirical, but it did not do well for the budget.
I would say, a movie like that, an original idea with a weird premise. Yeah, try and shave that budget down a little bit more. That's pretty big for a movie like that. So
you never know.
But you got to take a chance. That's the thing. You got to take a chance on original ideas. But that's another case of that movie is where it didn't do great. So they're like, let's get it on the streaming pretty quickly. So it's like, 3 weeks later?
Which you should watch that. You should also watch Woman in the Yard.
I'm going to watch both of them, yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about this because I watched this last night, actually. Psychotherapy. The shallow tale of a writer who decided to write about a serial killer. Starring...
Do you have the box office numbers on this?
I have no numbers.
Okay.
I have no budget, no box office.
Okay.
It stars Steve Buscemi, John Magaro, and Britt Lauer.
Oh, from Severance.
From Severance,
Yeah.
who's fantastic in this movie, and so is Steve Buscemi. So it's directed by a Turkish man.
Okay.
Who made a movie called Toll Booth, and a Turkish movie.
Okay.
Made several films in Turkey.
Did he do Turkish Star Wars? I've seen that production.
He may have been inspired by Turkish Star Wars. This film apparently won an award at the Tribeca Film Festival. And I don't know how much it cost. There's decent actors in it.
I'm a retired serial killer. What the
It makes very little sense. It's some kind of allegory about marriage and death. And so this guy, her husband's a writer, and she has nothing but contempt for him. And he runs into Steve Buscemi, and Steve Buscemi claims to be a retired serial killer. I want you to write a book about serial killers. She's like, what, man? I don't know anything about serial killers. And then, in a series of wacky circumstances, they decide, she says she wants a divorce. And Steve Buscemi, who's a serial killer, gets mistaken for their marriage therapist. And he has to perform marriage therapy for them.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm in. I'm in on this premise. And it takes a very long time to get going, but it just gets weird. They get tangled up in the mob. There's a little very light Tarantino vibes to it.
I was going to say, it sounds kind of 90s.
Ow! What the fuck? What was that? Why?
You said fire.
Feels very much like a 90s indie movie.
Okay.
It has that same vibe. And it's very flatly shot. The pacing's a little slow. It takes a very long time to get going, but once it gets going, I was just laughing constantly at the performances. Steve Buscemi is just so dry, and Britt Lauer is also the same way, and it wacky shit happens, but it's played very dryly. And the only thing I kept thinking of while watching this, having the topic of this particular discussion we're having on the top of my mind, was, why would anyone ever make this movie? There is absolutely no hope for it in the world.
It's a true piece of art. Then they just made it to make it.
And
but
that's what we should celebrate. I would want this in the theater. And
sure.
You get the theater crowded with people. They would be laughing. If this were the 90s, it would be some kind of edgy, crime comedy that people went and saw, and it did great.
Yeah.
But now it's I couldn't find budget or box office information. I don't think it played in theaters. I think
it probably played I think that's with Borderline, the same thing. Probably played some like genre festivals. No one knew what to do with it, and then they just put it on streaming, where it just dies.
Now, my next question is, why do we have film festivals anymore? And who in their right mind would buy a film from a film festival with the intention of putting it on streaming to make absolutely no money? It does not sound like a good business decision.
I mean, that's like what we were talking about with King Tide, where it's like, yeah, this movie's great, but there is no, in the current like landscape of the way movies are purchased and distributed, there's like no market for it.
Is it just an old model that is still existing? It's a dinosaur model.
Yeah.
You go to Sundance, you go to Tribeca, you see these great films. The studios, the distributors bid on them with the intention that maybe one of them, is it like gambling? Is it like the roulette?
One of these movies will break through.
The metaphorical roulette table.
Yeah.
They buy 10 chips and they place them around the roulette board in the hopes that the ball lands on one of those numbers. Is that it?
I don't know.
Tax write-offs? I mean,
David Zaslav needs to be like scooping up these movies left and right just so he can throw them in a dumpster and write them off.
The stuff so far this year has made lots of money, but also been bad.
Yes.
Like critically, Snow White, Captain America, these big movies exist only to keep movie theaters in business. And that to me is, I think that's the crux of this whole discussion. Those big IP movies are the internal organs that keep the body of the movie theater alive, so that it can also have smaller independent movies in the theaters that no one goes to see.
Yeah.
That to me is a pointless scenario. Because if no one's going to see the smaller, independent, thoughtful, artistic, risky, original movies in the movie theaters, who cares about the movie theaters?
Yeah, I think that's important to point out, is that it's not that like these movies are flopping because they're not good. It's that the people that want to see those types of movies aren't going to the theater to see them.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to put up with, teenagers running around sneaking in chickens or whatever.
That's an isolated incident. That's a commonplace activity. But
they are trying to encourage that type of thing with the director of the Minecraft movie, the Megan screening coming up, that's like a special screening. I'll give that a pass because it's like you're going there specifically to interact with your phone.
You know, in your deepest, darkest part of your heart, it's a test thing.
Oh, sure. Can we keep doing this?
Some idiot in a marketing department position said, what do kids like these days? They fucking love their phones. What do kids want to do when they're bored in the theater? They want to take out their phones. What if we found a way to make them take out their phones during the movie? And if everybody's doing it, it won't be a thing.
And it'll become a cultural phenomenon, just like Chicken Jockey.
We have to change with the times. There was some asshole saying that.
Oh, sure.
Somewhere. And because that's how these people think. So they're going to test it with Megan. And if it's a hit, the next Blumhouse thing, forget 3D. James Cameron, just go crawl in your grave. The next thing is interactive phone movies.
Yes.
And it's funny, we did a joke video about that.
Should we release that video in conjunction with this video?
We should release that video in conjunction with this.
Okay.
We did a Spitballs rant about
that we didn't use for anything.
That we have not used for anything. It was just audio about a potential movie that was designed It's called vertical. The screen is vertical, and it was designed to be interactive with your phone. We did this quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And we'll release it too. It'll be on YouTube.
Watch this video and then watch that video immediately after.
We know we're old men yelling at clouds, but we struggle.
Well, it's just an interesting topic because we're talking about numbers. We've been showing box office numbers. We're not just saying like, oh, no one goes to see original movies.
No.
We have numbers to back up what these original ideas are doing, and they're not doing great.
It's a very interesting little chunk of time we're in right now because it's from the dawn of cinema in the theaters, the 1950s, 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Everything remained relatively consistent with the exception of the blip of home video release. Everything was basically the same. You saw your advertisement on television in the form of a TV commercial.
Starring Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. Rated R. Opens Friday, June 13. Check newspapers for local listings.
A movie trailer before a different movie or in the newspaper. Now we've hit the aughts and the 2010s, now the 2020s, and right now things are rapidly changing with streaming and cell phones and all that kind of stuff, and content it's shattered.
Yeah. People's interests are changing too.
It's like a bomb went off in the last like 5 years of from COVID on, of just it fractured everything into this weird thing where no one knows what to do. Do we send people to the movie theaters? Do we put things on streaming? Do we have gimmicks? What do we do?
And if we put it on streaming, what do we charge for it? Because this is a whole new avenue. What are people willing to pay? Have we devalued movies so much that there's no coming back now?
Did we do it ourselves? Is it the problem with the content itself? Is the general IQ of the population dropping rapidly? It's literally just this bizarre landscape, and it's not just us trying to navigate it. There's people, in the industry, having these same conversations that we are. We're just two schmucks observing the city on fire from afar. We're watching Rome burn. To me, a movie like Borderline, Neighborhood Watch, The Psychotherapy, movies like that, and movie theaters are like oil and water.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work anymore. So I think Sean Baker's sentiment is correct, but there needs to be a different way to get people to watch these movies and to make money for the movies at the same time. That is not the movie theater. And literally the only thing is streaming. The problem isn't trying to push people to the theater to see Borderline.
It's just not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But
and we should point out, we're not even saying this is like, oh, theaters, they only play Minecraft. We're not even saying this is like a complaint. It's just the reality of the world we live in now.
Right.
There are still good movies being made. They're still trying to distribute them with that old model, and that's why a lot of them are underperforming, because it's different now.
Yes.
It just is.
It's like trying to sell your handcrafted artisan mittens in a Walmart.
Or like you have a little booth out in front of the Walmart, like almost like a little kid's lemonade stand, but it's for all your handcrafted knitted sweaters and stuff.
Or in
as
the
people
Walmart.
are walking into the Walmart and you're like, I'm selling sweaters here.
Yes. You have homemade, handcrafted artisan sweaters, and they're fine quality, high quality, and you're trying to sell them at in a cardboard stand outside the entrance of Walmart.
And no one's going to the Walmart for that.
And they're expensive because they're handcrafted and they're made with love. And everyone walking into the Walmart is going to get cheap junk that they know.
They want their $2 sweatpants.
They want their sweatpants
and their adult diapers
and their giant jugs of nacho cheese. and all their products, and they don't care about your, that's the metaphor or analogy for trying to get your borderline movie into a megaplex.
Yeah.
It's just going to die because everyone going to the megaplex is there to eat popcorn and watch the latest live action Disney remake or video game adaptation or superhero movie. Something has to change, and I think the only thing we can do with our limited abilities is try to find little movies that we like and talk about them, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I for one am looking forward to. I guess this would be considered a sequel, but Danny Boyle is making another Trainspotting movie.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to the viral moment when everyone yells, "Chicken junkie."
Okay.
Does that work?
That's fine.
That's all I got.
It's fine.
These are tough times, Jay. Jokes are expensive.